Tonight the sun drops below the horizon and something fundamental happens to your world that almost no one notices. You flip a switch, light floods the room, the darkness is gone before it ever arrives. 499.9% of human existence that switch did not exist. When the sun set, the world simply ended. You could not see the outline of your own hand. Predators that hunted by scent and sound moved freely while your eyes were useless. Every one of your ancestors, stretching back more than 300,000 years, spent roughly half of every life in that near total dark. They had no candles for most of that time. They had only the black sky, the stars, and whatever fire they managed to keep alive. So what did they actually do with all those hours? The answer begins with fire, because fire is the reason any of this became possible at all. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. Roughly 1 million years ago, layers of ash, burned bone, and heat-altered sediments sit deep inside the cave. Before controlled fire, our ancestors behaved like every other primate. Sunset meant climbing a tree or finding a sheltered overhang and staying still. Movement at night meant becoming food. Human eyes are poor in darkness compared with the animals that hunted us: leopards, hyenas, wolves, cave lions. Those predators saw perfectly well. Fire changed the equation overnight. A campfire creates a circle of usable light and perceived safety roughly 30 feet across. Inside that circle, most predators will not approach. Outside it, risk rises sharply. Anthropologists working with modern hunter-gatherer groups still document the pattern. People who leave the fire at night are far more likely to be attacked. The fire was never just warmth. It was a portable edge against the night. More important than safety was time. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset, perhaps 12 hours in high summer, as few as 8 in winter. Fire suddenly added 2 to 4 usable hours after dark. Over thousands of generations, those extra hours reshaped the species. In 2014, the anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences that remains one of the clearest windows we have into that stage. She spent years recording conversations among the Jew/Hoansi of the Kalahari, one of the last groups still living in a way that approximates the original human pattern. The difference between day and night talk was almost total. During daylight, roughly 3/4 of conversations were practical or regulatory: where to hunt, which plants were ready, complaints, logistics, social sanctions. Daytime talk was work. After dark, around the fire, the character of speech flipped. 81% of conversations became stories, myths, accounts of distant people, adventures, origin tales, and jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Economic talk dropped to almost nothing. Gossip and criticism nearly vanished. Firelight conversation is older than agriculture, older than villages, older than writing. It is the reason stories exist in the first place. Yet the night was never only about stories. Something else was happening that science only rediscovered in the last 30 years. You were not designed to sleep the way most people sleep now. In 2001, the historian Roger E. Kirch published a paper that rewrote the history of sleep. He had spent 16 years combing archives and found more than 500 references, scattered across centuries, that all pointed to the same pattern. Prayer books from the 1400s, court records, diaries, medical texts, letters, even passages in Homer's Odyssey. People spoke casually of first sleep and second sleep. Before the industrial age, most humans did not sleep in one continuous block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept roughly 4 hours, then woke for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night. After that interval, they returned to sleep for another 4 hours until dawn. This was not insomnia. It was normal. It was how the species slept for thousands of years. During that middle waking period, people did everything. A 16th century French physician advised couples that the best time to conceive was during this window. People visited neighbors. They interpreted dreams while the images were still fresh. They prayed, reflected, or simply lay in the dark and thought. A doctor's manual from the 1500s recommended the quiet hours between first and second sleep as the ideal time for study and contemplation, when the mind was calm and the world still. Historians had read these references for generations and routinely mistranslated them, because the modern assumption of unbroken 8-hour sleep was so deep that the older patterns seemed impossible. Then laboratory science confirmed what the historical record had been saying all along. In 1992, the psychiatrist Thomas Ware at the National Institute of Mental Health ran a carefully controlled experiment. He placed healthy volunteers in conditions of 14 hours of darkness every night, matching the long nights our ancestors experienced before artificial light extended the evening. Within weeks, every participant settled into the same biphasic pattern, roughly 4 hours of sleep. 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, then 4 more hours of sleep. No one instructed them to do this, their bodies simply shifted. Hormone measurements during the middle waking period revealed elevated prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation and after orgasm. Subjects described the state as peaceful, reflective, almost meditative. It was not ordinary wakefulness.